and Doug fucking save their asses and save as many humans, and she's like fucking robot fighting fucking like aliens and shit. Badass. And so that's how it ends. It ends with fucking Doug, the main hero, getting fucking very badly injured.
You're in it.
Doug Stargazer. It's the character creation.
That you made up?
Yeah.
Nice. Tell me about this guy. Where does he come from? Where was he born? Like,
He's fucking tall.
what was his childhood like?
Well, I mean, it'd be like 400 years in the future. So, he's been around, you know. He got fucking like caught with possession of a controlled substance, and he's like working off his time in the same camp that they are. And Call fucking falls in love with him. He falls in love with Call. The fucking android. Winona Ryder's.
What is that? A comedy or like fucking? What about Winona Ryder continuing to talk about this conversation?
She plays Call in Alien Resurrection. So anyways, that's how it ends, kind of like Empire Strikes Back, where he gets injured, and it kind of has just kind of like an up in the air kind of ending. And Call has.
Yeah, dude, you awakened like some serious weirdo science fiction things in my brain just now, man. The skyscraper that's interdimensional and fucking like Ripley goes up beyond this certain, like in the singularity that it also shows having occurred. Like if there was a singularity between now and then, like how would it happen? It would, like, we know what we know, we live the way we live, and computers seem to be getting better, high def, like quicker, smaller, following Moore's law, and then like fucking quadriplegics are like controlling cursors on the screen because they have a chip in their head, and their mere consciousness can already cause.
I tell you about the opening scene to the fucking first one.
So,
the opening scene to the third
it kind
one.
of shows like fucking how all these characters that are in this thing live in the world that they do that's different from ours, in
But it's
that like the
natural.
singularity
It's
occurred
natural.
somewhere between where we are right now in the present and that future where like fucking the computer just got so quick it figured out like it had the equivalent finally of one human brain thinking as one human brain in real time.
Or at
Like
least a
fucking,
human clone. It's about like when human clone.
but then it keeps
human,
going. Like fucking just that's
Yeah.
not even it. Like fucking when the computer like achieves artificial awareness and passes the Turing test, like because it has attained like the equivalent of one human brain in an even shorter time scale. It's like a seashell going into infinity. Like fucking, it should take about 48 weeks for me to attain the equivalent of 100 million brains doing a decade's worth of thinking. And then at that point, it's probably could be thinking things that could help us like travel at the speed of light. Like fucking just like it took us fucking 11 billion years to go from hydrogen that was cool enough to just clump together into stars to reach the life process. It was like that long till this long. And then if that's expanded out to here, from the life process to like fucking self-consciousness, like, and as it just like quickens itself, and then the fucking it builds machines. The universe fucking comes from hydrogen and builds machines that just figure out how to self-think itself, like, and improve itself at such rates that, like, if we spent 38,000 years as hunter-gatherers, or like fucking an agricultural proto-ancient civilization, like fucking agrarian Brahma, that 38 years of that, and then 4,000 years of civilization, and then like the printing press expanded all this like technology and the rediscovery of like fucking the Greek philosophers like fucking spur the Renaissance and then the Enlightenment,
as much realism.
and then the Industrial Revolution. It's just like goes into infinity,
This is all
and then
subjects. So subjects. I get you.
it took from the beginning of like fucking cinema or like film to go from like fucking black and white to like high def color. Like on that scale, this seems to us to have taken a while. But from the beginning of the universe to life.
Imagine the time before radio, like fucking like.
And it can think things that like to us would be like magical. Like no way. it figured out that there's a tachyon that's like going so fast it's everywhere at once, interweaving through all known matter at a speed that would make it appear and in effect to our brains everywhere.
But yes, it has a lot of references, but it doesn't like quite spell it out. It tries to like, because there's been a lot of complaints about the newer movies.
Right, but this movie, if you did it that way, would give like a weirdo good explanation for the future things you see in the movie that
So
they're using.
like my story so far. Like,
Yeah, and then once that thing can do like 100 million years of thinking by the equivalent processing power of like fucking okay, we now have the thinking capacity and the calculation ability of a quadrillion brains over a period of 1,000,000 years. 1,000,000 brains for 1,000,000 years. When it can do that kind of thinking, like all bets are off. It could quickly go from hunter-gatherer to the machine figured out 1,000,000,000 years worth of what it would have took you to get there without it in like a period of like 11 years. Like, by the 11th year, it just like achieves like this sort of machine omniscience, and then all bets are off. We could upload ourselves into different fucking mainframes and come out on the other end like fucking things that are untold, including technology to like take matter and like look real close at it to where like they learn to bend the skyscrapers of metals that they use to
matter at all. Like could you somehow like put that in an android brain?
Well, what I'm saying is, like, if the technological singularity occurred and artificial intelligence passed the Turing test and then just, like, fucking just did an exponentially self-reducing amount of, like, fucking power. Moore's Law, which was a computer dude in the 50s, like, coined to explain how computers are going to, like, cut themselves.
They are.
Doubled up, and it's still going. Like, and imagine what that would be like to the world. And, like, in your story idea, like, it would give good background for, like, the shit that they have that, like...
Yeah, but they don't perceive it.
Doesn't look like cheesy science fiction, like, gadget.
We're not going to, like, make a big deal of it, because that's their world, and they don't make a big deal.
And then within 11 years, things that we just can't fathom. It can lock the whole...
And it's normal for them. It's normal
a sector of the galaxy can be sucked into this bubblegum jar-sized device that the artificial consciousness like, eventually exponentially attain things that are just unimaginable.
They have to live in that universe, and so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and then it shows, like,
to stay alive.
That thinking fucking computer, like, just figuring out vast amounts of information, how it made our lives change over a period of like a couple decades, but like that's it. It took like 28 years for the beginning of artificial intelligence until it had achieved omniscience, absolute super consciousness.
There is a big evil computer in the fucking movie because it's a fucking like it's kind of like Skynet where it has all these different things that it controls like remotely.
It's just an extension of the ultimate, like all the little things. Like a gun can be used to kill or it can be used to hunt and protect.
Instead of fighting
it's not the object, it's the intent. So it goes off. There's evil fucking dudes that like wizardically.
It doesn't fight the humans. It doesn't fight the aliens. It just shuts down.
It's an evil technology in the universe that developed from simple hydrogen that like has developed like just annihilation, entitlement, and right over the rest of the universe is life forms seeking their own ends. They should show in that film how, like, Ripley, on a moral level, after she comes back out of that skyscraper, that singularity learned, and they show in a montage of, like, say, in the year 2091, the computer has figured out and told people, like, how to take matter, look really close at it, and how to make it bend in such a way that, like, it shows a skyscraper, and after you get to a certain point, the molecular structure of the metal is just, like... somehow goes into itself. We've learned to do that through the vast, unimaginable things that a consciousness computer would be able to calculate, like fucking mind-boggling. Whole populations of every brain that ever lived thinking, like, just taking our thing, like, okay, have you seen the new iPad? No. It's like, have you heard that the evil dudes may have used the singularity consciousness to create a device that's about this big? You turn it like this, you're going to start to see like shadows of black dripping from yourself and on the walls. It's your whole sector of the galaxy being sucked into this. That's how fucking intense it thinks in such a shorter Moore's Law has gone boom, 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 boom. It's out of our hands. what's happening? Turn on the TV. Like, fucking in 4 minutes, like, oh, this shit sucks. So anyhow, when the rock gets hurled into the earth, that makes it go on the one side, showing like the Atlantic Ocean falling into space, like what it would look like to a pilot on a ship,
I was
a
thinking
captain.
more like extreme results of like human fucking settlement, like overpopulation.
Yeah, that too. That's
deforestation and fucking like climate change. More like that to the extreme.
See, I would do some fucked up shit in that area as well. I would put an event in there that you could cover in a backtracking montage that like, shows like animals, like whales and fucking dolphins, and like cats and shit, like our
and like a polluted
animal friends, like sticking up for us in this weird way, where all of a sudden like we have these spacefaring things going on. And like if there's this weird moment where all the birds and like fucking animals like look up into the heavens at whatever's approaching, in kind of like, whoa, all the whales are out, and they're like kind of, the dogs are like in front of all the humans, like they're talking on an animal level, like fucking beyond our word thing that we've been trapped in the whole time. And like we see animal consciousness make this weird stand, and it causes like
Ellen's kids are like
it causes a huge amount of people to be instantaneously converted into like caring for the earth overnight.
Ripley's kids are confronted by an alien, and they're in
so there's free zone.
They're in a zoo, on fucking Earth, and they open the fucking door to the fucking polar bear enclosure, and fucking 2 polar bears fucking clobber this one fucking alien. If I can just take him out.
I would probably cry if I saw that. It might stay in mind right now.
And fucking save the kids. Then they have to run away from the polar bears.
They have to who?
Run away from the polar bears.